From the east, house of light, may wisdom dawn in us, so we may see all things in clarity. From the north, house of night, may wisdom ripen in us, so we may see all from within. From the west, house of transformation, may wisdom be transformed into right action, so we may do what must be done. From the south, house of the eternal sun, may right action reap the harvest, so we may enjoy the fruits of planetary being. From above, house of heaven, where star people and ancestors gather, may their blessings come to us now. From below, house of earth, may the heartbeat of her crystal core bless us with harmonies to end all war. From the center, galactic source, which is everywhere at once, may everything be known as the light of mutual love. Ayum hunabku, eva maya e maho. Ayum hunabku, eva maya e maho. Ayum hunabku, eva maya e maho.
I am Audri Scott Williams, the voice of the grandmothers of the Four Directions, the spiritual grandmothers who have been with me all of my life. On this day, a day out of time, we're taking a deep dive into natural time and celebrating peace through culture, and time is art. The message from the grandmothers today is that for us to just take a deep breath together. Close your eyes. Just breathe. There's a saying that if you want to know the future, you have to remember the past. You have to go back. On this day, let us all go back to that moment when we were first just an idea in the womb of our mother. Before we had any identification, any sense of who we are, very much like the butterfly. Before it becomes the butterfly, that caterpillar that goes through its chrysalis state and surrenders all to this liquid mass. Imagine us in the midst of our journey into this existence, beginning with just a flash of light in the midst of this womb space that has been created, like an internal ocean, the waters of life. Everything that is needed to bring forth life is present. Not by us making it be so, but because the timing, the joining of energies that brought forth the union of the egg and the sperm was the signal for all of life to come together to support through this body of water the possibility of this being. And now let us remember that in this space of feeling that womb connection, feeling the fluids inside churning with all that is necessary to bring forth life as us. Let us take a deep breath and then bring that forward into this day out of time. Let us take that deep dive into a connection to natural time. The cycles of the womb, the cycle of the feminine, the cycles of the moon. 28 days. Let us feel that time. Let us feel that as in this entire galactic year. Here we are in that moment between times. The time of what was and the time of what is to become. Let us take pause to celebrate not the material things of life, not the things that we assume has value based on some cost, some price that's put on it, but the value of time, the value as time is art. That suggests time is equal to our capacity to co-create with one another, with all of nature, with all of life, with all of our galactic energy. We are coming together to birth something incredible. So let us celebrate. Let us celebrate peace through culture. Let us celebrate time is art by creating and co-creating and creating and co-creating the experiences that are birthing the moment to come, the time to be, that which is conspiring to be our reality in our new galactic year. It is a time when all of the energy that we're putting forward right now into this moment as we celebrate peace through culture, as we remember the truth of who we are, as we twirl in the wind, as we put our hands in the water, as we put our hands in paint and paint the picture, create the sounds, create the effects, recognizing that all that we're doing is one with nature. In that space of being, that pure essence of creation, that pure essence of art, the artist within creating, painting the future, painting what is to come in the galactic year ahead. As we just center down into this moment, we center into the infinite now, where all creation is birthed. Let's take a deep breath together as we celebrate this day out of time, taking this sacred pause for celebration. Let us bring in the fullness of this experience as we begin to prepare the dawning of a new galactic year. Let us remember, in this space, we are all one. And it is that unity of the spirit of who we are that offers a bright dawning for the new galactic year. And so it is.
Be here now, 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 be Be here now. 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 Be here now.
Greetings, my name is Eden Sky, and I am honored to be part of this Day Out of Time broadcast to share with more of our global human family the invitation to tune in to the Day Out of Time. So I've actually been celebrating the Day Out of Time for 25 years. So I want to share a little more context about the significance of this special day. So this is a global galactic holiday that has been celebrated since 1992 all around the world. In more than 90 countries. It's even a municipal holiday in the third largest city in the world, Sao Paulo, Brazil. So the themes of the Day Out of Time are activating peace through culture, activating the new paradigm message that beyond our typical linear concept of time, that time is art. Life is art. We can all consciously become planetary artists and collaborate together in beautifying planet Earth as a living work of art. Another theme of the Day Out of Time is activating and embodying universal forgiveness. The Day Out of Time is also World Water Appreciation Day. Last but not least, the Day Out of Time is an opportunity and an invitation and a call to stop business as usual. It's an opportunity to contemplate and open to the reality that we are each sovereign citizens of planet Earth. We are each sovereign citizens of the galaxy. So we are each planetary citizens and galactic citizens. That understanding is the foundation of galactic culture. And to tune into the Day Out of Time is to participate in galactic culture. So ultimately, the Day Out of Time is an invitation to take sacred pause, to really stop and take stock of where are we at personally and planetarily. As the world around us continues to go through such unprecedented challenge, such unprecedented transformation, where are we really at inside of ourselves? Our human culture is simply a creative enactment we are all participating in, sometimes consciously, sometimes unconsciously. And as we know, every single one of us, every moment of every day, is participating in modeling to each other the possibilities and the potential of what it means to be a human being. So as any one of us has the courage and the willingness to confront and illuminate our own inner realms and bring healing and transformation to the parts inside of us that are wounded, that are traumatized, that are scared, that personal healing work that we invest in contributes to our planetary healing. Obviously, we are in a very intense healing crisis on this planet. And this is obviously mirroring the healing crisis we are going through as a human species. We are all mirroring to each other both our greatness and our brokenness. And life surely brings all of us tragedies and majesty, horrors and miracles. What I have found in my personal healing quest and my desire to consciously and positively participate in human culture is that the shortcut is self-love and self-forgiveness. That being said, I have also found it is definitely a journey learning how to unconditionally love myself. However, it is the single most valuable thing I have ever invested in. And I feel that as we learn self-love, it is truly the most accelerated avenue for our positive transformation. I have found that if I have negative stories come up, negative behavior, and if I judge them and condemn them, that actually blocks me from receiving the lesson that they have for me. And if instead, when these negative stories, negative behaviors, things I don't like about myself come up, and if instead of judging them and condemning them, I, from my heart, from my higher self, I accept them, I embrace them, forgive myself for them arising, then I am, out of self-love, I am available to receive the lesson they have for me. I can encourage myself to then integrate the lesson they have for me, which then allows me to grow. So I really want to inspire everyone listening to really make a study and invest in self-love and understand it as the power that it truly is. So also part of our healing, our personal healing that we need to do to be in service to our planetary healing, is we need to become whole within ourselves. We need to unify within ourselves, consciously unify our bodies with our minds, with our hearts, with our spirits, so we can know and experience the vastness of who we really are, our own totality, the immensity of the capacities we actually have. We all need to consciously unify with the masculine and feminine energies inside of us, to unify our rationale with our intuition, our logic with our imagination, to establish ourselves in communion with our receptive beingness so that that can inform and inspire our actions. We also individually each need to unify with our own personal, sovereign, direct connection to the living earth. And we each need to personally and directly unify with our own sovereign connection to the vast, resplendent, mysterious universe. We are the living union of the microcosm and the macrocosm. We are each a precious thread on the one grand web of life. And as we do this work, this personal healing work, this work of self-love, this work of unifying with our own totality, the depths of our actual capacities, then when we consciously unify hearts and minds and actions with our brothers and sisters around the globe, with all of our relations, then together, the power and the capacity of our synergy is that much stronger. So in closing, I want to share something with you that I find very inspiring and energizing. So something that I do typically every morning after I have set my sacred inner time space, I affirm I am here to be a conscious instrument of the ongoing victory of love. I am here to be a conscious instrument of the ongoing victory of love. I am here to be a conscious instrument of the ongoing victory of love. The victory of love that is beyond appearances, that is already underway. And then I like to visualize all the people all around the world who are also consciously holding love in their hearts, holding compassion in their hearts, kindness, generosity, gratitude, forgiveness, determination to serve our planetary family. I imagine all the people all around the world who are holding light in their hearts, each one of us as a lighthouse. I imagine us encircling the planet with this positive energy that then is available to all those who are suffering or afraid. I affirm our planetary healing, our awakening to ourselves as planetary citizens, as galactic citizens. Each of us awakening to the true, authentic powers we have when we unify with the depths of who we really are and work together in cooperation. Each one of us an instrument, a vessel, a vehicle of light and life.
One love, one love. One love, baby, one love. Drop the beat, let the world feel that. Forward motion, we can't go back. All we need, raise the vibration. Then every day we'll be celebrating. Sweet melodies blowing through the trees. Whole nother wave, feeling the breeze. A better day, together we'll meditate and elevate. You love me to my core. I'm always always gonna cherish that. Our love will never be held back. No, loving deep and so pure. If you could really show me that, I'm always gonna give it back. Whoa. One love. I'm back in the game, love. 'Cause nothing can change love. One love, baby, one love. You can feel it on the block. Just turn up and let it rock. Everybody in the house, come on and say yeah. And if you feel the vibes tonight, baby, come on and say yeah. 'Cause we gon' turn it up, and it's all good. And we gon' celebrate, yep, it's all good. L-O-V-E is where I wanna be. It's up to you and me. Oh, baby, yeah, you love me to my core. And I'm always gonna cherish that. Our love will never be held back. No. One love. You can feel it on the block. No, don't ever let it stop. It's one love, baby, one love. Ooh, I can't believe it. Ooh, I can't believe it. One love. Deep within your heart, one love. That's where the loving starts. One love. It's deep within you. Let your pain go, let it heal you. I am not ashamed to say I love you. Let my heart glow, now I'm brand new. One love. Everybody say stop it now. And you can feel it, yeah, yeah. Baby, one love. Love is in the air tonight. Can you feel it?
Thank you, everyone, for joining us once again on this amazing day out of time, 2020. We are very honored, RuBen and I are very honored in this moment to have with us a very dear friend and special guest to this broadcast, Lewis Elbinger. Wonderful to have you in this space of grace together. And you're radiant, as I said when I first saw you earlier today. You've been radiating out there in Mount Shasta. So thank you so much for your presence on the planet, and grateful to have you here.
Mikuak and RuBen, the honor goes in both directions. I feel deeply honored that first of all, that the three of us are good friends, and we've been friends for years. But more than that, we share this reverence for peace and the banner of peace, and the concept of creating a future that is going to serve all of us in the deepest way, in the strongest way, in the highest way that it can.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And RuBen, how are you? How you doing over there? Down there, rather, in Tulum.
I'm doing fantastic. I'm so honored to be today in this day out of time, the celebration of peace through culture with a person like Lewis, that I had the pleasure to meet 7 years ago in Mount Shasta when we were planning for the ceremonies of galactic synchronization, and he was part of that on Day Out of Time. And here we are 7 years later, closing the circle and having his presence from Mount Shasta radiating in the celebration of these 33 years of the harmonic convergence, 33 years of the new time, and the 28-year celebration of Day Out of Time. So it's such a fantastic moment to have his wisdom and his story behind the banner and what inspired him to be such an advocate of the banner of peace. So I think that we should let Lewis tell us a little bit about you and your story, so that all the people around the world who are watching today can get a feel of who you are.
Okay. Well, I think it starts when I hitchhiked from Scotland to India when I was 21 years old. And I got to go across Europe and the Middle East and into Asia. And I went to India because I wanted to study meditation. I was a conscientious objector to the war in Vietnam. And I thought I'd have to go to jail. And going to jail, I wanted to be prepared for that. And I thought knowing how to meditate would be an essential tool for surviving in jail. So I got to India, and I thought I would. I started my spiritual quest, and I was kind of told to go back to the West and find my teachers there, and that's what I did. I went back to the West, and I met my wonderful wife, and we started studying in the Arcane School with the Lucis Trust, the Alice Bailey books. And through the Alice Bailey books, I found about Agni Yoga, which was the teachings of Nicholas and Helena Roerich. The name is, we say Roerich in English, and they say Roerich in Russian. And it's through my studies of Agni Yoga that I came to the Banner of Peace. I didn't come through the Josë Argüelles way. I came through Roerich and studying with the Agni Yoga people. When I was 28, in my meditation, I got the idea that I should join the Foreign Service, because I identified with all the traveling I'd done, all the world traveling I'd done. I saw myself as a planetary citizen, and I felt that I think in terms of planet, not nation, not one particular nation. I belong to the world. One of the things I say is no one should die for their country. Everyone should live for their planet. And that's something that I truly believe in. So I started taking the Foreign Service test in 1928. They offered it once a year in December, and I passed it, and I didn't get in. It takes a long time to get in. When I was 36 years old, after I'd established a career as a computer programmer, I was informed I was working in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, and I got a call from the Foreign Service saying, you know, Mr. Elbinger, you know that test you took and join the Foreign Service? Well, you passed it, so can you be in Washington in 2 weeks? I said, no, I can't do that. I'm working in Saudi Arabia. I can't be there in 2 weeks. So I hung up the phone and said to my wife, okay, that's it. I'm not going to join the Foreign Service. Well, a month later, they called me and said, Mr. Elbinger, can you be in Washington in 2 months? I said, now we can talk, you know. And one thing led to another, and I did join the Foreign Service. And I spent 28 years in 16 assignments in 9 different countries, really serving what I consider to be the highest ideals of what America stands for, which, as everyone knows, is very different from what's going on today. Everywhere I went, I tried to inform people about 2 things that I thought were very important. The Banner of Peace symbol. What is this symbol? This symbol. The 3 dots, as I understand it, are art, science, and spirituality. And the circle around it is culture, peace through culture. And this was very evident to me that people, from my personal experience, I've learned that people are kind and generous, and they help you. When you hitchhike, you put yourself at the mercy of strangers. And I went from Scotland to India. So I got to see people all over the world, many different languages, many different cultures, but they were kind, they were generous, they were hospitable. And this is the way people are naturally. I know this from my personal experience, not from reading a book, not from seeing a movie, but from actually experience with life. And while I was in the Foreign Service, I tried to teach. This book is the Banner of Peace Pact, which is the international pact that was signed on April 15th, 1935, in the presence of Franklin Delano Roosevelt. This treaty is still in effect today. There's a document called Treaties in Force that the State Department has, and this treaty is listed in it. But of course, no one knows about it. So when I got into the Foreign Service, I tried to teach people about it, and I wrote an article in April 1990. That's over 30 years ago. This was published in the Foreign Service Journal. It's an article explaining that what the treaty is, establishing this banner and basically informing the diplomatic service that this thing exists. We can use it, we can build on it, we can talk about it, we can educate about it. And some people heard it, most people didn't, but I've continued with that. In addition to all this, I'm as an amateur musician, I have 3 self-produced CDs, but I wrote an opera about Rorich. Again, the idea was to let people know that such a thing exists. And in the opera, at the end of Act 1, is a song called "The Banner of Peace." So the Banner of Peace, which explains how what the symbol is with graphics of the institution of this idea, this peace treaty, and this concept.
When I met you, it was actually in Washington, D.C. You were sharing some of the music from your opera focused on Rurik. I remember that very clearly. It was in Busboys and Poets there down in the U Street area in Washington, D.C.
Right, Andy Shalal. Yeah.
Andy Shalal, yep. So that's been several years. Explain a little bit about the treaty for people, just so they understand this treaty that still exists now 85 years later, but still a binding treaty. Explain just a bit about what the treaty was enforcing.
Well, the treaty establishes this symbol to protect scientific, educational, and cultural institutions in times of war. So that means that libraries and universities displaying this symbol in 1935, it's called the Red Cross of Culture. When you show the Red Cross, that means do not attack this building, or like a hospital or a medical facility. Do not attack or protected people. This protects in times of war. And the idea was to protect culture, because as Nicholas Roerich traveled around Russia when he was a young man, he saw the ancient artifacts of Russia being destroyed. They were tearing down old churches and tearing up cultural institutions to use them for pigsties and agricultural work. And he saw the destruction of native Russian culture. And he felt it needs protection, it needs a sign, it needs a symbol that's going to protect culture and value culture. Why? Because culture is a path to world peace. Culture is what unites us. He said that beauty, recognition of beauty, unites people, brings people together. So we want to protect universities, libraries, and museums. When these places display this symbol, that means do not attack in times of war. Now in 1935, warfare was such that a flag or a banner could be seen and could be effective. If people were educated in it and people knew what it meant, they would understand, oh, don't do to this institution what was done to the museum in Baghdad, for example. Of course, warfare in World War II changed, and a bomber flying 35,000 feet above a city wouldn't see the banner. But the idea is still valuable and relevant, and it's the sort of thing that children have to be taught. And now with our new education system, now that schools are being rethought, the whole idea is being rethought. These ideas such as the Banner of Peace, ideas such as the Universal Declaration of Human Rights on December 10th, 1948, one of the best things that came out of World War II was the establishment of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. It consists of a preamble and 30 articles. Now there's 31. But at the time, in 1948, there were 30 articles outlining and telling people what the rights of man are. This is the sort of thing that needs to be taught in the schools from a very young age. And indeed, some people have written books for children explaining what the human rights are. So the Banner of Peace Pact, the Rorich Pact, and the Universal Declaration of Human Rights are two things that need to be taught to children so that people know their rights and people understand that culture, respect for beauty, the sense of beauty, and the protection of scientific education and cultural institutions is the sort of thing that needs to be done in the world.
That's interesting. It expands the idea now also in the context of Day Out of Time how Jose and Lloydine applied it to the World 13 Moon Calendar Change Peace Program, an initiative to apply these principles to the biosphere, to the entire planet in that sense. So that's why we find that symbol associated with the calendar reform movement, the modern calendar reform movement. Maybe RuBen, you have some remarks about that?
Yes, I think it's important in this year 2020, when we are reaching this 28th celebration of the Year of Time, to recognize this relationship between peace and harmony, and how we can achieve peace over time by entraining into higher states of harmony with nature. And the year 2020 marks a generational threshold, because it's the Maya used to see this 20-year cycle between 19 and 20 years like one generation. So this is the first generation of the third millennium. And there is a regeneration of all these values, as Lewis was sharing. And part of the regeneration is the protection of the cultural patrimony that the indigenous Maya left here in Mesoamerica. Not only in the indigenous Maya, but all the Mesoamerican cultures really left this knowledge of the calendar. And through colonization, that knowledge was covered. And now is the time for the knowledge to expand again, and to allow us to connect with nature in a different way that we have been doing for the past centuries. So this is an important historic moment that we have the chance to really regenerate the planet at all levels. So bringing the message of the banner of peace at this moment is such an important component of this regenerative culture that we are so blessed to carry and to bring to this day out of time as an offering of peace to the world. So thank you for holding for 50 years. You mentioned you have been holding the banner, so this is a major achievement, and especially bringing the message to the organizations and to the decision makers. And it doesn't matter if they have heard the message or not, the seed were planted. And,
yes.
the consciousness of the planet, it is going to keep this alive as far as we need to do it, in order to bring these values again to the new generations. So thank you so much for holding so much of this legacy during the past 50 years. And we are really honored to share this mission with the banner, and be able to bridge generations of work. What the Rorik did, what Jose did, what you are doing, still doing, and the work that we have been doing with the calendar reform movement. It is certainly a generational continuity of the work, and that has so much value and so much resonance through the planet right now.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned, actually, before we went on air, you mentioned where you were in 1987 during the Harmonic Convergence. Share a little bit about that with us.
Yeah. I was working as the administrative officer at the U.S. Consulate General in Dhahran, Saudi Arabia. Mm-hmm. And my wife and I were very excited about Harmonic Convergence. I thought, oh, finally, this is happening. People are going to wake up. And the truth of the matter is, nobody around me shared this excitement at all. I tried to tell people about it, and I was sort of shocked and amused that people didn't know what I was talking about. You know, they couldn't resonate with it.
Yeah.
So, but I went once again. It's Dhahran, Saudi Arabia, is sort of a remote corner of the planet, from some people's point of view. But we were holding the light there, planting the seeds. I think the key thing is, in my Mayan calendar analysis, I'm a seed planter. I plant the seeds. I don't hang around and watch them grow. I just plant them and walk away, and come back many, many years later. And something has grown there.
Well, here we are 33 years later, and something has certainly grown. That's for sure. We just had a 10-day celebration with a global community produced by Mark Sims, really acknowledging this harmonic convergence arc of 33 years. So thank you for the seeds you've planted, because they've definitely germinated and they're definitely prospering in a variety of ways. And I think it's important to note that. So nothing is lost. Everything, as RuBen indicated, is regenerated.
Before we close this dialogue and this conversation, the year 2020 also holds like a harmonious frequency in terms of it makes you think about the vision of the world. We have 2020 vision, and
Yes.
and we are looking to collect the dreams or the vision of the years after 2020, and we would like to hear a little bit about your dream vision of the earth after this year 2020 that has come with so many challenges. What vision do you hold at this time on earth?
Oh, that's a great question, RuBen. People are going to wake up. That's all it is. People are going to, one by one, people are going to wake up and see the oneness. We're going from duality to unity. We're going to oneness. The key word is oneness. And we see that we all have more in common with each other than that which unites us is greater than that which divides us. Okay? And we're seeing in the political sphere, we have a president who's tried to divide us, and he will be, that whole idea is going to be relegated to history. And in the future, it'll be those who unite us. And how do you do that? It doesn't come from without, it comes from within. The very idea that we should be locked down and go within. The message from the universe was go inside, go inside. So the key is meditation. That's why meditation is so important. Each individual person has to go inside, find out what your mission is. I'm a grandfather. So what a message do people, sometimes young people come to me and they say, Lewis, can you give some advice? Well, I do. I say, the first thing I say is, what worked for me will not work for you, because we are now in the 21st century. Most of my life has been in the 20th century, which was very divided and full of strife. We're coming into the age of Aquarius now, where people will see their commonality and work together. Yeah. Secondly, you have to go inside. People have to go inward. The answers are not going to be outside. It's not going to come in politics. It's not going to come in religion. It's not going to come from anything external. It's going to come from something internal. You find out who you are, what your mission is in life, and how to do it to the best of your ability. Each person has a different mission, unique to them, that only they can do. And this is what I've been doing in my life, okay? But we share a mission as well. There's one mission that we all share, and that's the mission of ending war and poverty. One person or a group of people can't do that. We all have to work together, accept that as a goal, and work together to end war and poverty. And we can do it. We've put a man on the moon. For God's sakes, we can end poverty on Earth. We can end war on Earth. But it has to start when the kids are very young to understand. Find your mission and do it. Through meditation, understand who you are. What did you come here to do? Another thing I always told my daughter, leave the world a little bit better than you found it. We're not going to change the world. For God's sakes, we don't save the world. The world saves us. It's nature. That connection with nature is healing. The healing of the world will come with nature. So we have to get in touch with nature. That's why I love living where I do. I live in Mount Shasta. I just walk outside and I'm surrounded by the beautiful healing of nature. And I wish this for everybody. And people will get out of the cities, get into nature, or even in the cities create natural parks and natural places and gardens and landscaping and agriculture, urban lawns, food not lawns, things like that this is all coming. Mm-hmm. And it's coming because of this pandemic. The pandemic is it's forcing us to go inward and to really look at our lives. So leave the world a little bit better than you found it. We're not going to change the world in some dramatic way. We can change it a little bit, make sure that our families are loving and peaceful, and that our intergenerational and interpersonal relationships are whole. And the last thing I would say is a quote from Alice Bailey that I like very much. She says, a sense of responsibility, quote, a sense of responsibility is the beginning of spiritual understanding. A sense of responsibility is the beginning of spiritual understanding. So many people who call themselves spiritual are incredibly irresponsible. and the way that they behave. And that, to me, that tells me that they're missing the point. As someone who's really done a serious spiritual search all his life, traveling all the way to India and back and around the world many, many times. I've been around the world so many times I can't even count them. It's a sense of responsibility. We all know about the inequitable distribution of wealth and power. Everybody knows that, okay? But no, people don't talk about the inequitable distribution of responsibility. We have a few people who have a tremendous amount of responsibility on their shoulders, and many, many masses of people who have no responsibility whatsoever. I worked with General Petraeus when I was in the Foreign Service, and I noticed always that his shoulders were hunched like this. This is a man who had 225,000 people indirectly reporting to him. Can you imagine having 25,000 people reporting to you? Okay, now make it 225,000. So his shoulders were, I always wanted, as someone who practices yoga, I always wanted to pull his shoulders back, you know, take responsibility on our shoulders for our own lives, for our own mission, for the reason why we came to Earth, for the shared mission that we have of eliminating war and poverty. People need to pick up responsibility. And when enough people do that, when we get to the tipping point where enough people are being responsible, we'll see the changes that we want to see, which is just having fun. Fun is a metric. We can measure how well we're doing by the amount of fun in our lives. If you're not having fun, you're missing the point. So it's not just saving the world. If saving, I often say, saving the world should be fun. And if it's not fun, you're not saving the world.
Well then, I think that's the most appropriate and perfect note to wrap this up on, actually.
I think so, yeah.
If you're not having fun, you're not saving the world. There we go. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Lewis. And we look forward to remaining in touch and sharing these vibes out.
Exactly.
In the world. We'll keep planting these seeds and watching them bloom.
Right.
Thank you.
When travel starts again, I hope to see you guys visiting me in Mount Shasta again.
Yeah, you will.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Louis, for this conversation and for being part of these celebrations of Day of Time, Peace Through Culture, and holding this idea for 50 years. Thank you so much.
Power to the peaceful. My name is Baba Ras D. Greetings to the family of humanity. We are here today in honor of the Day out of Time. And we give thanks for ones and ones who have allowed us with the invitation to be a part of such an auspicious occasion. What a full joy. At this time, we want to offer an opportunity to be a part of the solution and continue to allow the family of humanity to restore hope, a restoration of justice, a restoration of dreams, a restoration of brighter tomorrow. We look forward to the children of tomorrow to realize that we are here to do one thing with this life, and that is pass the peace and not the frustration. Can you say, pass the peace and not the frustration? Say, pass the peace and not the frustration. At this time, I offer you the invitation to join with me, the children of Harambe, as we ask you to be a part of the solution. Continue to provide your inspiration as we ask that you pass it to a friend. Very soon, you remember, give me the Sada.